Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Opening blind date with Ye Wenjie. I feel numb when I'm in the three-body problem, traveling through the world of the three-body problem in 1965, starting with a blind date with Ye Wenjie and Lin Fengren. Fortunately, Lin Feng has awakened the civilization searcher, which can search for various sci-fi civilizations, Inception, Ace Agents, Endless, Black Hole Frequency, Number 1 Player, Wandering Earth, and other civilizations in previous human fantasies, giving Lin Feng unimaginable technological power. Using the Inception Device, Lin Feng engaged in a civilization dialogue with an ant in the dream world, witnessing the rise of ant civilization in the era of miniaturization and the terror of pheromone technology. Lin Feng. Any weak civilization may face an unprecedented technological explosion. Xiaoye, you see, under your feet, there is a human script made up of hundreds of thousands of ants. Lord.Ye Wenjie. General Chang Weisi, I am ETO Commander Ye Wenjie. I have had a conversation with you in the past. Shi Qiang. I'll go, Super Soldier Serum. I, Captain Shi Qiang.Wang Miao. My nano flying blade is not worth mentioning. Luo Ji. The wall-facing plan is simply weak and explosive. I, Luo Ji, apply to become the captain of the space navigation ship. Zhang Beihai. Earth, move forward 4. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1, 1965, Civilization Search System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the spring of 1965, in Shijiacheng, Nanluo Guxiang Hutong Lin Feng stared blankly at the dilapidated house in front of him, with some portraits of great figures hanging on the mottled walls and layers of newspapers pasted on the surrounding windows, but he still felt the air blowing from all sides. Now that spring has just entered, the temperature in 49 cities still looks chilly. Lin Feng lowered his head and glanced at his tattered cotton jacket with patches on it, his gaze gradually returning to focus. It has been a year since we arrived in this era, Lin Feng said with a bitter smile and couldn't help but sigh. Yes, it has been a year since Lin Feng traveled to this era. When he first found out that this was Nanluo Lane, he naively thought that he, like many seniors in the Quadrangle Theater, had also traveled into the world of era dramas. However, when Lin Feng learned about the situation of the surrounding residents, he was disappointed. Although this place is also called Nanluo Lane, there are no Qinhuai, no silly pillars, and even less the meme of stealing holy sticks. This is not the world of quadrangles. It seems that this is just a simple 1965 era, and the predecessor occupied by Lin Feng, who is 19 years old this year, is a true college student majoring in mechanical equipment manufacturing. Unlike other bookworms, Lin Feng's predecessor had extremely strong hands-on ability, especially in precision machining of parts, which was easy to handle. Lin Feng, who had not yet graduated, had already obtained a level 7 certificate as a fitter. After graduation, he was assigned to the Red Star steel rolling plant and became a level 7 fitter, earning a salary of 84.5. In this era where everyone couldn't eat enough or wear warm clothes, having such a high salary made Lin Feng the brightest kid in the steel rolling mill. Various young ladies and daughter.in.law have been inquiring about Lin Feng's information, and various matchmakers have been visiting him one after another. When Lin Feng realized that he was only traveling through a simple era, rather than a period drama, he put aside his little bit of caution and actively integrated into the country's construction, and was repeatedly praised as a model worker. During this year, Lin Feng could be described as walking on thin ice, afraid of being caught as a spy or detached from the people due to his words and actions that surpassed the times. Especially Lin Feng knows that there is still 1 year left before the big storm begins. This storm can be described as sweeping across the country, with a fierce force. Any slight mistake can be labeled and criticized by people. However, after a year of adaptation, Lin Feng finally integrated perfectly into the era of 1965. His words and deeds are exactly the same as those of this era. This era is still better. Although there is a shortage of resources, there is not much pressure, and everyone's spiritual world is very full, with a simple heart, completely free from the crooked customs and evil spirits of future generations. Lin Feng said as he breathed on his hands, warming them up. Then Lin Feng opened the stove, added a piece of honeycomb coal, and skillfully boiled water to cook. The food is very simple, rice porridge mantou with your own pickled vegetables. The most ordinary breakfast in the 21st century has surpassed the standard of living for most people here, and Lin Feng only dares to close the door and eat it himself. After saving up money for a year, it's time to get a wife and live a warm life with a wife and children. Lin Feng discussed while eating and began planning his own future. After living in this era for a year, Lin Feng's thoughts have become simple. He doesn't want anything else now and just wants to work hard to save money to get a wife. Moreover, thanks to his predecessor's skills as a fitter, Lin Feng has saved 689 yuan and 25 cents in just 1 year, and has equipped himself with 3 major items for his wedding: a watch, a bicycle, and a sewing machine. In this era, Lin Feng was also considered young and talented, with a solid family background. After finishing the meal, sealing the stove, Lin Feng sat comfortably on his solid wood seat, drinking broken tea and occasionally spitting out some tea leaves. No pressure, no internal competition, no evil capitalist boss. Lin Feng is becoming more and more fond of this era. Time's up. Lin Feng glanced at his tattered and mottled wall, where an old quartz clock was hanging. Looking at it being past 7 o'clock in the morning, Lin Feng held his pockets in both hands and took a deep breath. Civilization Search System, conduct today's civilization search. Ding, the civilization search system is serving you. Do you want to start the civilization search? A mechanical system boosting sound sounded in Lin Feng's mind, and then a system panel appeared in front of Lin Feng's eyes. The system panel is very simple, with only one search button. This is Lin Feng's travel welfare. Civilization Search System. As the name suggests, this civilization search system can randomly search for all the fantasy science fiction civilizations of Lin Feng's past life. Every time a civilization is found, Lin Feng can extract a science fiction product from the searched civilizations. In theory, all kinds of technologies that have appeared in science fiction films, anime, and novels of Lin Feng's previous life on Earth can be extracted. It sounds great, but only Lin Feng knows how flawed this system is. Firstly, the system usually only has one search function and no other functions. Secondly, the system can only search for civilizations defined as science fiction frameworks, such as myths, cultivation, fantasy, martial arts, magic, supernatural and other themed works, which will never appear. Although called the Civilization Search System, its search limitations are limited to the definition of technology in science fiction. Finally, there is the search function of the system, which provides one search opportunity per day. As for whether civilization can be found, it all depends on personal luck. And Lin Feng clearly belongs to the non-chieftain category. He has been searching for a year, not to mention civilization, he hasn't even found a hair. The most frustrating thing is that even if I search for civilization, I dare not use it in this era. This is what makes Lin Feng want to cry without tears. In the current era, if you rashly bring out something that doesn't fit this era, it's okay not to be discovered. Once discovered, it's probably not just waiting for Lin Feng to sit down and wear it. Start civilization search. Lin Feng regained his senses and focused on his system panel, then clicked the search button. Ding, we are currently conducting a civilization search. The civilization search has been completed, and no civilization has been found this time. Almost as soon as Lin Feng clicked the search button, the system beeped. Sure enough, it's like this again. Lin Feng was not surprised by not finding civilization, which has been the norm for a year. Dong dong dong. And just as Lin Feng finished his civilization search, his door was knocked on. Lin Feng put on a thick cotton coat and opened the door. Xiaofeng, Aunt Wang has come to introduce you to a new partner. P.S. The new book sets sail. This book is a three-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 2. Blind Date with Ye Wenjie, Surprised by the Three-Body World. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Aunt Wang, please come inside quickly. The east wing of the courtyard in a quadrangle is a house allocated by the street office to Lin Feng. Although it is only an east wing house, if left until the 21st century, it is still worth a lot of money. At this moment, Lin Feng is warmly welcoming a middle-aged lady wearing a tattered checkered cotton jacket. Her name is Wang Xiufen, a well-known matchmaker from all over the country, and she is also a staff member of the street office. He knew that Wang Xiufen was here again to solve his marriage problem. In this simple era, most people have already started their families early. In the words of the country, having their own small family is the key to better building our country. In response to the national call, the street office began to work hard to solve the problem of marriage between eligible men and women, and Lin Feng, who is already 19 years old, undoubtedly has reached the appropriate age for marriage. Xiao Feng, this time Aunt Wang is here, she's going to introduce you to a blind date again. Don't get tired of it. I've introduced several big girls and daughter.in.law to you before, and you've all said you'll consider them when you go back, but there's no further discussion. Wang Xiufen started chattering incessantly as soon as she entered, making Lin Feng 2 years old. Aunt Wang, it's not that I don't have any further information, it's because the little girl thinks I'm not suitable. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. In fact, it's not just Wang Xiufen, a matchmaker, who has told Lin Feng about a partner, but many people have also told him about it. However, although Lin Feng has made efforts to adapt to this era, in terms of objects, he is out of place with the men and women of this era. For Lin Feng, who has received modern education, it is common for him to meet his crush, eat a meal, buy a gift, or hold a hand. However, in this still somewhat feudal era, it's hard to even think about holding hands. Moreover, the preferences of older girls in this era are completely different from those of Lin Feng's previous life. The girls here don't value whether you can make money, they value your character, whether you can make a living, whether you can support a family, and so on. Even at the beginning of the blind date, Lin Feng was almost mistaken by the blind date for being a hooligan. If it weren't for Lin Feng's sincere apology, he would probably have become a street mouse being beaten up by everyone now. Since then, Lin Feng has been dating for 2 years. Alright, think you're still a top student. You can't even handle a little girl's film, Wang Xiufen glanced at Lin Feng. Women of this era, especially those who have been married, speak without restraint. Many times, even the old men can't resist what they say, let alone Lin Feng. Wang auntie, let's talk about finding a partner, Lin Feng had to interrupt as he watched Wang Xiufen chatter incessantly, otherwise Wang auntie could talk about the darkness. Okay, get down to business, get down to business. Aunt Wang clapped her hands and then her face became serious. Xiao Feng, it's like this. Wang auntie is telling you the truth. The person I'm introducing you to this time doesn't have a very good family background, but you can rest assured that she is definitely first class, and her small appearance is very well behaved. Wang auntie turned her head around and cautiously approached Lin Feng, saying with a hint of sarcastic laughter. Is the family composition not good? Lin Feng looked at Aunt Wang suspiciously. He didn't care about these things, but the big storm was about to start, and he always had to keep an eye out for it. The big storm has not yet fully started, but there are already signs. Many big shots with bad ingredients want to avoid the next big storm by marrying some workers who are rooted in the red. Xiao Feng, don't look at me like that. Don't you understand me yet? I'm really thinking about your life. Although the Ye family has a poor family background, at least they are from a highly educated family, so you're not at a disadvantage. Aunt Wang began to persuade Lin Feng, praising her blind date as a flower. Aunt Wang, you've been talking for a long time, so you must tell me some information about your blind date. Lin Feng thought it over and decided to meet his blind date. After all, Aunt Wang has been running around for her marriage and cannot make people feel cold. Hey, look at me, I forgot to introduce you to your blind date. Your blind date is named Ye Wenjie, who looks handsome and beautiful, and just like you, he is also a talented student. What kind of a laborious scientist? Aunt Wang carefully introduced Lin Feng's information about the next blind date. Ye Wenjie. Why is this name so familiar? However, Lin Feng did not hear Aunt Wang's lengthy speech, and he always felt that Ye Wenjie's name had been heard somewhere. Xiaofeng, why are you so stunned? Aunt Wang looked at Lin Feng, who was stunned, and gave him a slap on the shoulder with some dissatisfaction. Oh, it's okay, Aunt Wang. It's what you said about Ye Wenjie, I think I've heard of it somewhere before. Lin Feng came to his senses and said subconsciously. Have you ever seen Xiaoye? If that's the case, it's a godsend. To be honest, Xiaoye's father, Ye Zhitai, is an old stubborn person. You need to be clever when you go on a blind date tomorrow. Aunt Wang began her lengthy argument again. Bang. However, Lin Feng could no longer hear Aunt Wang's words clearly. When he heard Ye Zhitai, his brain roared. He finally understood why he became so familiar with Ye Wenjie's name when he heard it. Aunt Wang, are you referring to Ye Wenjie as a graduate student at Tsinghua University? Lin Feng grabbed Aunt Wang's shoulder and asked with a slightly uncontrollable emotion. Okay. It seems like something from Tsinghua University. Aunt Wang was shocked by Lin Feng's actions and instinctively answered his question. Ye Wenjie. Really, it's actually true. It turns out that I've traveled into a world of 3 bodies. Lin Feng's pupils shook violently, and his right hand began to tremble uncontrollably. He finally realized that he had crossed into the world of the 3-body. In his past life, Lin Feng, due to the popularity of the 3-body TV series, studied the great works of 3-body science fiction. He was very clear about what kind of world this was. Dark forest. The entire 3-body universe is a dark forest, where every civilization is prey and every civilization is a hunter with a knife. They quietly lurk in the dark and boundless universe, searching for their prey. Once they discover their prey, they will give it a thunderous blow. Even more terrifying is that in this dark forest, there are hunters lurking everywhere, treating the universe as a hunting ground, and the remnants of civilization are scattered throughout the entire universe forest. Gone, it's actually a 3-body world. This is still playing with Nima, Wait to Die, Human Bug. P.S. The new book sets sail. This book is a 3-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 3. The Terrifying 3-Body World, Lin Feng's Fear. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Eliminating human tyranny, the world belongs to the 3-body. Until now, Lin Feng realized that he was traveling through the world of Big Lu's science fiction trilogy. The 3-body world can be said to be more terrifying and dark than any science fiction civilization. Not to mention the intelligence of the Trisolaran civilization that can block human technology, just the research droplets of the Trisolaran civilization easily destroyed over 2,000 interstellar warships of humanity. And this is just the tip of the iceberg in the technology of the Trisolaran civilization, with all kinds of terrifying technological forces. The Trisolaran civilization simply disdains to showcase human civilization. In the view of the Trisolaran civilization, human civilization is just a trivial bug. A bug that can be trampled to death at will. Trisolarans don't need to expend much effort to easily crush human bugs. And the three-body civilization is nothing more than an equally insignificant lower civilization amidst the vast expanse of civilizations in the universe. In the universe, there is also a group of scavengers, and the civilization of singers possesses technological power beyond the limits of human imagination. They are the cleaners in the universe, and the two-dimensional foil in the hands of the civilization of singers is like a broom in the hands of humans. Transforming the solar system into a two-dimensional foil in an instant is nothing more than a trivial means for singer civilization. And above the civilization of singers, there are more divine-level civilizations, as well as the most terrifying zeroing civilization. Everything leads to an ultimate result, which is in the world of the three-body, humans are always insignificant insects and can be trampled to death by any other civilization around them. The civilization that humanity takes pride in does not exist in the past, does not exist now, and will not exist in the future. Lin Feng sat in his dilapidated room, casually pouring himself a cup of ergotu, and then drank it all in one gulp, starting to self-deprecate with a hint of disinterest. Lin Feng didn't know when Wang Xiufen left, he only knew that Wang Xiufen seemed to have said she would first go and explore the situation of the Yi family. If everything goes smoothly, the blind date will be at 8 a.m. 3 days later, and the location is only 1 kilometer away from here, Ye Wenjie's home, number 42 Dula Hutong. As for the rest, Lin Feng didn't care at all. He was completely immersed in the shock of being in a three-body world, and at this moment his mood was like a tiny ant, suddenly looking up to see the cruel truth of the entire universe. That shock, that fear, like a tide, waves flooded Lin Feng. He always felt that outside the earth, there were countless pairs of eyes staring at the earth, staring at himself. These eyes shone like stars, like countless stars in the sky, countless and like civilized eyes, densely packed, causing Lin Feng to experience a dense phobic fear and despair. Before Lin Feng's travels, the Three-Body Problem TV series had already become extremely popular, and it was also with the help of TV dramas that Lin Feng revisited the three-body problem. As Tong Lin Feng lamented before, in the three-body world, human civilization is as insignificant as dust. No matter how human civilization develops, looking at the entire universe civilization, it is a tiny bug. And the neighbor of human civilization, the Centaur 3 stars, for light-years away, is the Trisolaran civilization. Due to its extremely harsh living environment, after experiencing hundreds or thousands of destruction and rebirth, the Trisolaran civilization finally realizes that its own living environment is unsolvable and urgently needs to find a new home. It was also at this time that they received a solar system broadcast from their good neighbor Ye Wenjie, and the Trisolaran civilization was ecstatic because Earth was the most suitable planet for the Trisolaran civilization to inhabit. The move of the three-body civilization has begun. The expedition fleet of the Trisolaran civilization will arrive on Earth in 400 years. 400 years. Lin Feng poured himself another glass of wine and drank it all in one gulp. Lin Feng still remembers the question that many science fiction fans have been wondering. The technology of the Trisolaran civilization has developed an interstellar fleet capable of reaching 1/10 the speed of light, and the Trisolaran civilization is only 4 light-years away from Earth. According to theory, the Trisolaran's fleet only needs 40 years to reach Earth. So, why does the Trisolaran civilization explicitly state that the arrival time of the Trisolaran's fleet is 400 years later? Lin Feng used to be puzzled by this, but now he seems to understand. For humans, the terrifying three-body civilization is also a negligible bug in the universe. So much so that the Trisolarans had to carefully avoid other civilizations around them, like a little white rabbit walking in a dark forest. Any slight mistake could lead to being eaten by wolves, tigers, and leopards that appeared from somewhere unknown. In the world of three bodies, any interstellar navigation is not allowed. The flight of an interstellar spacecraft will disturb the gravitational waves around it, like a flying insect jumping continuously in a dead lake. The water waves stirred up will attract various underwater creatures to gather here. If there is any carelessness, the flying insect will be devoured by a huge underwater object. The dark forest law has made any interstellar navigation a taboo of civilization. If the Trisolarans were not on their own planet and the environment was extremely harsh, they would undoubtedly die if they stayed, and they would not rashly embark on interstellar navigation. Three-body civilization, three-body fleet, Ye Wenjie, ETO. Lin Feng was lost at the moment, and upon learning that this was the three-body world, he felt indescribable fear in his heart. Even though Lin Feng knew that even if the three-body fleet appeared on Earth, it would be 400 years later, he still couldn't suppress his fear. Sha sha sha. When Lin Feng was stunned, an ant climbed up on his desk and kept crawling on his old desk. Lin Feng's gaze was drawn to the little ant, as it continued to crawl towards a piece of food residue on the table. Lin Feng raised his right hand, intending to crush the ant directly. However, as his fingers were about to touch the ant on the table, Lin Feng stopped. He had a wonderful feeling that he was now the master of this ant. He can put down his finger and crush the ant directly. You can also retract your fingers and give this ant food. So, if this ant had perception, would it feel the presence of my master? Lin Feng's face showed a self-deprecating smile, then shook his head slightly, put down his finger, and easily crushed the little ant. Regardless of whether this ant is aware or not, the master doesn't care. Just like the tone of the three-body world, destroying you has nothing to do with you. P.S. The new book sets sail. This book is a three-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. The first civilization found in Chapter 4, Inception. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On a new day, Lin Feng woke up early to tidy up. Due to his sudden realization of the three-body world, Lin Feng's willpower was depressed for the first time and he got drunk. However, after waking up from the hangover the next day, Lin Feng regained his fighting spirit. Although the three-body world is terrifying, as a traveler, Lin Feng possesses a vision that other humans do not possess. He is able to look at the universe, observe humanity from the perspective of the universe, and observe human civilization, just like the first person to open their eyes and see the world. When they see such a deep and dark forest of infinite civilization remains, they always fear at the first time. But after fear, hope reignites. In the cosmic forest, except for the god-level civilization Zeroers, everyone is a bug. Since they are all bugs, let's see whose life is harder than who. Moreover, Lin Feng also has an essential gold finger for travelers that has not been used yet. Civilization Search System. As the future history will say, insects have never been eradicated. Now, it depends on whose life is hard. Lin Feng sorted out his worn-out cotton jacket, his tone indescribable and carefree. System, conduct today's civilization search. Lin Feng glanced at the clock on the wall and directly started today's civilization search. The remaining number of times for this civilization search is 1. Civilization search begins. The cold and ruthless sound of the civilization search system echoed in Lin Feng's mind. Ding. Then a crisp ding sound rang out in Lin Feng's mind, which had never appeared in a year. Can you say? Lin Feng widened his eyes and looked expectant. Civilization search successful. The civilization found in this search is Inception Civilization. The civilization search system did not disappoint Lin Feng. The cold and heartless voice, which was heard by Lin Feng at this moment, was like a heavenly melody. At the same time, all the information about the civilization found in this search appeared in Lin Feng's mind. Inception Civilization. Originating from the movie Inception, the development of its civilization is not much different from the modern civilization where Lin Feng is located. The only difference is that there is a technology device within this civilization that can be called black technology. Inception Device. This device can give people the ability to freely enter other people's dreams and implant thoughts and consciousness into their dreams. Surprisingly, it's Inception. Lin Feng still remembers the breathtaking multi-layered dream world of Inception, as well as the magnificent and colorful dream world. Starting to extract civilized technology, successful extraction of civilized technology, and completion of the extraction of the Inception Device dream machine. The cold mechanical sound of the civilization search system rang out, and at the same time, a suitcase that perfectly matched the characteristics of this era appeared on Lin Feng's desk. In Lin Feng's mind, a series of memories emerged about how to use a dream machine and how to create and steal dreams. After integrating these memories, Lin Feng leapt to become the top dream thief, pharmacist, and dream maker, comparable to the protagonist Cobb in Inception. Gently opening the leather suitcase with worker patterns engraved on its surface, Lin Feng saw the structure inside the suitcase. Its internal structure is filled with a modern sense of technology, especially the automatic Mengsu injector and LED monitor, high-tech protective lock, and a flexible induction-type intravenous infusion line. Lin Feng pulled out the intravenous infusion line and looked at the top of the injection head, which was like a patch, with a smile on his face. This patch syringe is very convenient and fast. Just stick the patch onto the wrist, and the needle inside will automatically pop out and pierce into the vein. And it is safe and painless, making it a must-have for stealing dreams. Inside the suitcase, 5 orange-red potions were emitting a dreamy color. Lin Feng knows that this is a magical potion that can help people enter the dream world while maintaining clarity and stability, called the automatic dreamer. Automatic dream elements can send human consciousness into the dream world and share the dream world, achieving the effect of multiple people entering the same dream together. Automatic Mengsu is a magical potion. Even in the world of the three-body problem, it can be considered unique. Lin Feng picked up an automatic Mengsu and chuckled lightly. After integrating the knowledge of dream stealing, Lin Feng has become a top pharmacist who can proficiently prepare automatic dream hormones using existing chemical drugs. Of course, currently Lin Feng is unable to configure automatic Mengsu due to the lack of chemical materials. Lin Feng's gaze retracted from the automatic Mengsu and then turned to several special small things on the corner of the suitcase. A top, a black and white chess piece, a metal dice. Mengbiao, I didn't expect the civilization search system to be so considerate that even the Mengbiao was pulled out. Lin Feng looked at these 3 little things in surprise, gaining a deeper understanding of his civilization search system. It is obvious that the civilization technologies extracted by the system can be used in conjunction. I can't wait to try out the capabilities of the Lianmen machine. After obtaining the dream machine, Lin Feng couldn't wait to try entering the dream world. Of course, although Lin Feng is excited, he has not forgotten the characteristics of this era. He will not foolishly take the Lianmen machine to showcase to people of this era. He is planning to secretly find an animal and experiment with the Lianmen machine. Any living organism can dream, right? Lin Feng sat on a chair, lightly tapping the table with his right hand. His gaze fixed on an ant on the mottled ground. According to his fusion of dream-stealing memories, almost all organisms and some plants are capable of dreaming. Lin Feng is preparing to test the ability of the Lianmen machine with this ant first. As soon as he thought of it, Lin Feng picked up the ant and placed it in an empty teacup. In this teacup, Lin Feng dropped a drop of water to prevent the ant from crawling out. Only then did he carefully place the patch on top of the ant's antennae. The sensation of foreign objects piercing the ant's antennae made the ant emit a hissing sound. Its limbs kept swinging, trying to escape from here, but because the teacup was smooth and there was still water, it could only crawl in place. Now, let's try dreaming first. Lin Feng sat on the chair and casually took out a syringe, which he attached to his wrist. Lin Feng pressed the central button on the Lianmen machine with his left hand, and then the Lianmen machine began automatically linking Lin Feng and Ant's dream world. Buzz. Lin Feng only felt a darkness before his eyes. When he opened them again, he had already entered a brand new world. Is this my dream world? Lin Feng stood on the broad street, looking up at the world in front of him. The whole world is undoubtedly the modern city where Lin Feng once lived, with towering buildings, bustling streets, and orderly overpasses. Everything made Lin Feng a little stunned and lost in thought. I feel like I've returned to my original world, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. In the dream world, all senses are real, no different from the real world, and even Lin Feng can feel the wind blowing, the warmth of the sunshine, and the thickness of the ground under his feet. Who is sending the message? And just as Lin Feng sighed at the reality of the dream world, a strange sound, much smaller than the buzzing reputation of mosquitoes, rang out at his feet. Lin Feng looked down and saw a tiny ant under his feet, staring blankly at the world in front of him, constantly hissing. P.S. The new book sets sail. This book is a three-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 5. First Dialogue Ants, Ant World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who is sending messages? In the dream world, a little ant was urgently spinning. Before crawling dozens of steps, it was still a hard-working worker ant busy breeding for the queen ant in spring. However, after crawling dozens of steps, it suddenly arrived at an extremely unfamiliar place, surrounded by no familiar pheromones, turning it into an ant on a hot pot, constantly spinning in place. As the ant was spinning, it unexpectedly received pheromones from the sky, not knowing how far away it was. The pheromone spreads in a way, layer by layer, constantly conveying complex information that this ant has never felt before, new, and extremely unfamiliar pheromones. This ant doesn't know what exactly happened, it can only be at a loss, sending its pheromones as much as possible in order to receive familiar population pheromones again. Oh! Is this ant making a sound? Lin Feng looked down at the ant with a surprised expression on his face. After a little thought, Lin Feng knew the reason. Communication in the dream world is a communication between consciousness, and it is because of this that dream thieves can steal a large amount of consciousness information through dreams. Interesting, can this be considered a third type of contact? Lin Feng looked at the ant under his feet with great interest, as it began to release its pheromones in panic. Information. Information. Information, the faint sounds, even weaker than mosquitoes and insects, reached Lin Feng's ears, each containing a tone of urgency, fear, and doubt. Ants do not have emotions, but they can use pheromones to simulate some special information, such as anxiety, doubt, fear, and so on. Looking at the constantly spinning ant, Lin Feng's gaze gradually became deeper. On this ant, Lin Feng saw the shadow of humans. In the face of the three-body civilization, human civilization is not just this ant spinning in place. Any weak civilization may face an unprecedented technological explosion. So, can this ant also lead a technological explosion and create a different ant civilization? Lin Feng squatted down gently, his gaze fixed calmly on this ant. Little ant, do you have a name? Lin Feng said casually to the ant. For humans, Lin Feng's words are very brief, but for this ant, his voice has turned into pheromones of stormy waves, each segment containing rich and incomprehensible information. 3 hours after Lin Feng spoke, the ant finally understood some information from the stormy pheromones. Ming, destiny, name. I don't understand. This little ant is trying its best to emit its pheromones, trying to understand Lin Feng's words. However, this ant is too small, and its brain is even smaller. It cannot understand Lin Feng's words at all. Can't understand. Lin Feng's eyebrows furrowed slightly as he looked at the ant and sighed helplessly. This kind of communication is really exhausting. Let's try implanting ideas. Lin Feng glanced at the ant and then began to try implanting some ideas into it. Cobb in Inception can be induced layer by layer within the target character's dream, making them believe in the ideas expressed by the Inception Master. This is the thought implantation of the Inception Master. However, the ant in front of him had a very weak subconscious and didn't even need induction. Lin Feng could burn the thoughts he needed to implant into the ant's subconscious. Do you have a name? Lin Feng implanted what he had just said into the depths of the ant's subconscious as information. Bo. However, just as Lin Feng implanted his thoughts, the little ant in front of him instantly died of brain overload, and its consciousness retreated from Lin Feng's dream world. Did you fail? Lin Feng was stunned for a moment, then leaned back directly. The feeling of weightlessness instantly made Lin Feng detach from his dream world. In the real world, Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes, his gaze slightly lost for a moment, and then regained clarity. Interestingly, even though I had exited the dream world, I could sense the consciousness information of this little ant. Lin Feng woke up from the dream world and was slightly stunned, muttering with some surprise. After Lin Feng left the dream world, he did not take out the patch of the Lianmen machine, which means that although he and little ant both left the dream world, the Lianmen machine is still connected to each other. Although Lin Feng had only injected a trace of automatic pheromone into this ant before, the effect of automatic pheromone was not something that this ant could bear. Most of the automatic pheromone remained in the ant's body, affecting its subconscious and causing it to be in a state of half dreaming and half awake at all times. Therefore, Lin Feng can use the Lianmen machine to capture some conscious information of this ant. By the way, that ant. Lin Feng patted his forehead and looked down at his old teacup. In the teacup, the ant that Lin Feng pulled into the dream world is quietly lying at the bottom of the teacup. This ant seems to have changed a bit. Lin Feng looked at the ant with great interest, and he could clearly feel that it seemed to have changed. Just like a person and a monkey that he can distinguish at a glance, this little ant also becomes unique. Sha sha sha. The little ant swayed its antennae, feeling that the world before it had changed. It feels like there are some special, brand new, unfamiliar yet familiar pheromones in its body. This pheromone is completely absent from it before, and it is also something that its population has never had before. It is also because of that brand new and massive complex pheromone that it began to become unique. Previously, it was just a naive search for food, carrying food, only living for food and survival. And now, it's starting to focus on things beyond survival and food. I don't know why, it wants to know the name of every object it encounters, even its own name. Under Lin Feng's gaze, the little ant began to crawl clockwise around the bottom of the old teacup. Its body begins to release a large amount of pheromones, which are highly recognizable pheromones in the world of ants, symbolizing the gathering of similar species. In just 5 minutes, under Lin Feng's observation, ants began to emerge from an ant nest under the table and chairs, and then began to follow the pheromone guidance of this ant, along the legs of the table, and crawl towards the table. There are not many ants in this nest. After all, Lin Feng is also a clean and tidy person. He usually cleans the room to prevent mosquitoes and pestis. Therefore, there are only 12 ants in this ant nest. At this moment, these 12 ants, under Lin Feng's gaze, scrambled and scattered onto the table, and then followed the pheromone's guidance to the teacup. P.S. The new book sets sail. This book is a 3-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 6. The beginning of ant civilization, ant naming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sha sha sha. The spring dawn shone on Lin Feng's somewhat dilapidated window, and a golden ray of sunlight shone on his face, making him feel the warmth of a long time ago and shining on the table in front of him. At this moment, Lin Feng was staring intently at his desk. On the table, 12 small ants are circling around a teacup, constantly spinning, but they are unable to find their way in. The surface of the teacup is really too smooth. They cannot find an entrance and can only release anxious and urgent pheromones from their own bodies. These pheromones slowly passed into the teacup, and the ant circling around the teacup wall suddenly stopped. It knew through its companion's pheromones that it couldn't get out. This ant began to release a special pheromone, and after this pheromone was released, all the ants outside the teacup stopped. Lin Feng learned through the dream machine that this ant was expressing farewell. After receiving its farewell message, other ants are ready to leave. The world of ants has no emotions. After sensing the movements of other ants, the ants in the teacup began to release pheromones again. However, this time, the other ants were completely unable to recognize the pheromones. Because that is an emotional pheromone that has never appeared in the entire ant population, sad. Hiss. After a brief expression of sadness, the ant in the teacup began to urgently crawl again, constantly releasing pheromones from its body. It urgently wants to release the complex and unfamiliar pheromones that have emerged in its brain. However, the pheromones it can understand in its brain are vast and complex, and it cannot interpret them at all. Famous it repeatedly releases the information it receives from the sky and the information it receives in its mind. However, no matter how hard it tried to release pheromones, the other ants still couldn't understand. These 12 ants crawled around the teacup again and began to release pheromones frequently. The meanings expressed by these pheromones are confusing and incomprehensible. They cannot understand the meaning of the pheromones released by the same species in the teacup, and in their eyes, they see them as meaningless fragments of pheromones. Fate. The ant in the teacup became even more urgent. It suddenly realized that the pheromones it released were too complex and profound, and its own kind could not understand these profound pheromone information. So, it can only extract the most important information from some pheromone fragments in the mind as much as possible and release it. As this ant persisted in releasing at all costs, all the ants outside remembered the pheromones released by this ant. Fate. 12 ants began to gather together and began to touch their antennae in pairs, using pheromones to communicate the new pheromone information they obtained. Then all 12 ants released the same pheromone as teacup ants. In the teacup, the exhausted ant releases its excited and joyful pheromones, and then it starts to spare no effort in releasing the pheromones representing itself, combining the pheromones of self and destiny together. It is naming itself. It calls itself Destiny. Hiss. As the pheromones representing their own names were continuously released, the 12 ants outside gradually began to record their names. After these ants recorded the name of their life began to release another different pheromone. It crawled around the inner wall of the teacup, and Lin Feng knew it was naming the teacup. It urgently uses its tentacles to constantly touch the inner wall of the teacup, wanting to express the circle it has walked through. However, its brain is too small to even describe the phenomenon of walking around and returning to the starting point. Circle. Lin Feng was really anxious, and he started transmitting consciousness information to Ant Ming through the Lianmen machine. However, even if Lin Feng only conveyed a single word of information, it was not something that this little ant could understand. It can only misinterpret Lin Feng's circle. Fate. This is the naming of the teacup by ant life. After naming the teacup, ant life began to name its own tribe again. A pheromone is transmitted, enveloping the first ant outside. This ant, like an ant's life, begins to become unique within this special pheromone. Fate 1. It obtains special pheromones representing itself. It has obtained a unique name that belongs to it. Destiny crawled down towards the inner destiny, with a pair of tentacles tightly attached to the outer wall of fate. Ant life drags its tired body, processing it in the same way. All 12 ants have their own names. They are from Destiny 1 to Destiny 12. In the world of ants, pheromones representing quantity are very common. But when these quantitative pheromones combine with the special pheromones emitted by life, they produce wonderful chemical reactions. These 12 ants have become unique. I, ant life, have witnessed a magical phenomenon, an incomprehensible phenomenon. Ant life once again releases pheromones and begins to explain everything it has encountered to the 12 ants before. Under the explanation of ant life, other ants become frightened, panicked, surprised, and fearful. Ant life cannot break free from the shackles of fate and cannot transmit information through its antennae. Therefore, it can only strive to release pheromones and share its experiences with the 12 ants outside. However, the result of this is that the 12 ants each have different understandings of the phenomenon explained by ant life. Ming Yi regards the phenomenon explained by Ant Ming as a miracle and blindly worships the existence that produced the miracle. It refers to this phenomenon as the coming of the Lord. Destiny 2 and Destiny 9 believe that the phenomenon explained by Ant Destiny is only accidental and not worth remembering. Destiny 10 is very interested in the incomprehensible phenomenon explained by Ant Life, and it urgently wants to enter into fate and understand this phenomenon. Ming Shi believes that the strange phenomenon explained by the ant's life is absurd. Compared to this phenomenon, it is more willing to search for food and let itself and the queen ant inside the ant nest survive. Ming 12 is extremely afraid of the phenomenon explained by ant life, and it even dares not receive the pheromones of ant life, causing its entire body to tremble. The same phenomenon, different reactions, this is really something worth recording. Lin Feng was already a bit lost in thought. He did not expect that by simply implanting some fragments of consciousness into the consciousness of ant life, a group of little ants would undergo a leap in civilization. Yes, it's the leap of civilization. After ants have a name, they become completely different from other ants. The ant civilization under Lin Feng's desk legs has undergone a leap. Lin Feng was not surprised because he was very clear about the laws of the three-body world. Any weak civilization will experience a large-scale technological explosion at a specific point in time, and the speed of civilization transition will exceed imagination, even directly catching up and surpassing previous civilizations. That's also why, after discovering Earth civilization, the Trisolarans went to great lengths to lock down Earth technology. Because of Earth's civilization, we are also experiencing a technological explosion at this moment. P.S. The new book sets sail. This book is a three-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 7. Fate Ant Nest, Ant Queen Lays Eggs. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In Lin Feng's room, the clock of the quartz clock had already moved to 7 o'clock in the morning. Lin Feng stretched lazily, only to realize that his feet were a bit numb from sitting for a long time. He actually watched ants for half an hour. For half an hour, he saw ant life in the teacup tirelessly communicating with the 12 ants outside. Through the prolonged stream of consciousness of receiving ant life, Lin Feng has gained a rough understanding of the communication among these ants. After naming these ants, ant life requires 12 ants to return to their nest, report their experiences to the queen ant, and bring her here. And these 12 ants, Ming Er and Ming Jiu, immediately left the table and headed towards their nest after receiving pheromone instructions from the ant's life. But the remaining 1, 10, 11, and 12 or 4 ants did not immediately leave the table. Mingyi still worships the teacup with utmost respect. Destiny 10 is the repeated desire to enter the teacup. Ming Shi turned his head and began searching for some food residue on the table. Ming 12 shrunk his body on the table, trembling with fear. Lin Feng found an old notebook and recorded all the behaviors and reactions of these ants, and sorted them out in different categories. Lin Feng referred to this ant colony as the Destiny Ant Nest. Naming ants as ant-wise individuals. 12 ants are called ants 12. After recording everything, Lin Feng closed his notebook and removed the patch of the Lianmeng machine from the antennae of ant life. After putting the Lianmeng machine away, Lin Feng casually threw some food into the teacup and then covered it. Ant life can be said to carry the rise of ant nests. Of course, Lin Feng needs to take good care of him. At the very least, one should not starve to death. Lin Feng glanced out the window, and the courtyard he lived in was already bustling with people. Most of the people living here were workers from the Red Star rolling mill, and many of them were preparing to go to work. Although these workers were dressed in shabby clothes, their spiritual outlook was much stronger than the era before Lin Feng's time travel. Everyone is holding their heads high and full of energy, and the pride and honor of the workers are fully reflected at this moment. Inside the courtyard, there are still many women and children washing in front of the faucet, looking thriving. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile on his face, and the darkness in his heart was swept away. It has to be said that the spiritual outlook of this era is very infectious. If everything goes smoothly with Aunt Wang, there will only be 3 days left until the date of our blind date with the future ETO Commander Ye Wenjie. I still need to buy some meeting gifts. Lin Feng casually ate something and then walked out of his room. In this era, blind dates are still very formal. When meeting, the man needs to take 6 kinds of gifts. Although most of them are melon and fruit dim sum, Lin Feng still needs to go to the Red Star department store in the center of Suzhou City to buy everything. Just as Lin Feng rode his 28-bar bicycle out of the courtyard, the ant nest in his home was undergoing earth-shattering changes. 1 minute after Lin Feng left his room, within the Destiny ant nest, 9 ants went back and forth. Among them was an ant 4 times larger in size than the other ants. This is the queen ant in the ant population, responsible for nurturing ant offspring and managing ant populations. At this moment, the queen ant, who had just woken up from hibernation, was dragged out of the nest by 9 ants who were out foraging before she could lay eggs. Then, the queen ant appeared in front of the fate teacup. Hiss. The queen ant emitted an angry hissing sound, and its body emitted pheromones representing anger. The queen ant's pheromones have a commanding effect. The 12 ants on the table all crawled down in front of the queen ant, even the life 12, who had been trembling before, was no longer afraid at this moment. What? The queen ant raised questions about the population in front of her. But Fate 12 had not yet had the chance to release pheromones, and the ant's life in the teacup had already awakened. Ant life sends special pheromones to the queen ant and once again tells her about the phenomenon it has experienced. After hearing the words of the ant's life, the queen ant immediately sent out pheromones of panic and fear. Even the large body of the queen ant began to constantly retreat, afraid to escape from here. Queen ant, the information I received comes from the sky, so I named you Destiny. Ant life is already very skilled in naming techniques. The large and complex pheromones in its brain also make it no longer naive. The pheromones in its body express more abundant and organized information than ants outside the teacup. Destiny, I hope you record all the pheromones I send in your body, and then pass them on to the next generation. I hope the next generation can remember everything that happens within their destiny when they are born. Ant life sent the massive pheromones in its consciousness to the queen ant in one go. The ant's life became drowsy. Its pheromones have also become much weaker. I want to know the name of everything we climb, I want to name them, I want to know what exactly is above the sky. Ant life sends out special pheromones one after another. Fate. Destiny. Fate. After receiving the massive pheromones transmitted by ant life, the naive and ignorant brain of the queen ant has become completely different. The instinct of the queen ant enables it to quickly record the pheromones sent by everyone in the population and store them in its body. It became as intelligent as ant life, and it gladly accepted ant life's naming of itself. And, this queen ant also compiled some pheromones to represent her own name. The first heavenly empress, born. I need food, I want to nurture a population. The heavenly empress issued her first unique command. Under the command of the heavenly empress, Ant 12 quickly began crawling from the table in all directions. Although there are only 12 ants, the efficiency of their work is astonishing to humans. In just a few minutes, the hatching room of Destiny Ant Nest was filled with food. The heavenly Destiny Ant Queen began to devour food crazily, then began to lay eggs continuously, and injected her own population pheromones and the massive pheromones she had just received from ant life into the new generation of ant eggs. P.S. The first update will be sent, and a new book will set sail. This book is a three-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 8, Second Lucky Draw Civilization, Ace Agent Civilization. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For 9 cities, Red Star International Trade Department Store Building. Lin Feng entered with familiarity and looked at the goods in the department store. Even though it was not his first time here, Lin Feng was still dazzled. The department stores of this era claimed to be able to buy any product in the world. All kinds of goods are available. Moreover, this place can be described as a sea of people, very lively. Lin Feng spent an hour finally choosing the gift: 2 bags of peach pastries, 2 pounds of melon seeds, 1 pound of big white rabbit milk candy, a can of fruit-flavored biscuits, 2 pounds of pork, and a bottle of Maotai. A total of 18.2 yuan was spent, with Maotai accounting for a whopping 6 yuan. That is to say, Lin Feng earns 84.5 yuan a month and has accumulated a rich income in a year. Otherwise, Lin Feng wouldn't dare to spend it like this. After buying all the blind date gifts, Lin Feng went to Quanzhou and ordered another roast duck before heading to the Red Star rolling mill where he worked. Master Lin, good morning. Master Lin, good morning. Just as they arrived at the gate of the steel rolling mill, the workers in front of the gate warmly greeted Lin Feng. In this era, most people called them comrades, and only those outstanding workers were called masters. As a 7th-level fitter in the factory, Lin Feng can be said to be a coveted asset, and there are even many workers who want to learn technology from Lin Feng. Lin Feng does not hide his teachings, which makes many workers respect and appreciate Lin Feng. Also, let the name of Master Lin resound throughout the entire Red Star steel rolling plant. Lin Feng greeted the workers with a smile on his face, and then arrived at his 5th workshop, where more than 10 workers were already performing precision machining of parts. Master Lin, you are here. We have a part that needs precision machining, and the error should not exceed 1 mm. After Lin Feng entered, a man wearing a worker's uniform walked in and handed him a blueprint. Lin Feng only glanced at the blueprint and became familiar with how to manufacture this part. Then he walked up to the lathe and proficiently began processing precision parts. Lin Feng's hands were steady and powerful, and each step seemed to be calculated. The seemingly casual movements had already undergone countless trials and tribulations. A dozen or so workers around came to watch Lin Feng's operation, and everyone was amazed, their eyes full of admiration and respect for Lin Feng. It only took half an hour for Lin Feng to manufacture the precision parts of the blueprint, and after measurement, the error was only 0.3 mm. After handing over the parts in his hand to the workers on the side, Lin Feng took his ceramic cup and sat leisurely drinking water. Other workers did not say anything when they saw Lin Feng resting, and even someone kindly brought a kettle. I don't know what happened to the fate of the ant colony. Lin Feng picked up his own tea cup and took a sip, then spat out tea foam, his eyes slightly dazed. After learning that this was a 3-body world, he no longer had the same contentment and salty fish mentality as before. The 3-body civilization has always been like a big mountain, pressing Lin Feng hard to catch his breath. Although Lin Feng obtained the dream machine of Inception civilization, it did not have any impact on the arrival of the 3-body civilization. Lin Feng sighed and realized that he was still too weak at the moment. It is absolutely impossible for Lin Feng alone to fight against the 3-body civilization. He plans to live in the 1960s while secretly building an organization similar to ETO. Today's civilization search opportunity has not been used, I hope it can be as awesome as yesterday. Lin Feng came back to himself. He directly opened the panel of the civilization search system, and then clicked the search button. Ding! Civilization search successful. The civilization found in this search is the Ace Agent civilization. The cold and ruthless sound of the civilization search system echoed in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng held the teacup, and the joy on his face was already evident. He found that since he learned that this is a horrible three-body world, his system seems to have become awesome. Subsequently, Lin Feng learned all the information about the civilization extracted this time. Ace Agent civilization. From the movie Ace Agent, the development of its civilization is not much different from modern civilization. The only difference is that this civilization has many advanced agent technology items. Starting to extract civilization technology extraction has been successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining holographic glasses *2. The system's prompt sounded again, and then Lin Feng felt two more things in his hand. Lin Feng looked down and saw two eyeglass cases that perfectly matched the characteristics of this era appearing in his hand. Looking at the simple eyeglass box with the carved pattern of a great man, Lin Feng carefully glanced around. The other workers did not notice this and were still focused on the car parts. Lin Feng breathed a soft sigh of relief, feeling a bit resentful in his heart. The civilization search system is really a rudimentary group, even without system space. It seems that when conducting another civilization search, we need to find a deserted place. Lin Feng sighed and casually put one of the glasses cases into his pocket, then gently opened the other glasses case. Looking at the flat gold wire glasses inside the glasses case, Lin Feng carefully examined them until he was sure that the style of the glasses in front of him did not exceed the aesthetic of the 1960s. Only then did he confidently put on these glasses. Drip. As Lin Feng wore it, a slight buzzing sounded from the corner of his glasses and legs, and then some special data appeared on top of Lin Feng's lenses. Holographic glasses. Exclusive glasses for top-secret agents, equipped with advanced data analysis chips that can analyze various data in real time. At the same time, it can send long-distance video and audio signals, and can perform various functions such as holographic imaging communication. Real-time data analysis. Lin Feng lightly pressed on a protrusion on the eyeglass frame with his right hand, and on top of his lens, data on each processed part quickly appeared. Holographic imaging. Lin Feng pressed the position of his glasses legs with his right hand again, and a holographic projection of Lin Feng appeared in front of him. Lin Feng took off his glasses and saw nothing in front of him. After putting on his glasses, his holographic projection reappeared. In addition to holographic projection, holographic glasses can also be used for remote calls and holographic conferences, but this requires other holographic glasses to receive. In this era, wearing glasses is not a big deal, although some people are curious about why Lin Feng wore his eyes, and Lin Feng's unified answer is that due to work reasons, his eyes are somewhat nearsighted. Just as Lin Feng was testing his holographic glasses, a young man wearing a simple gray coat walked in from outside, wearing glasses. Lin Feng always felt that the young man in front of him seemed familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him. "Hello, you are Mr. Lin, the 7th level fitter at Hongqing Steel Rolling Plant. I am by Mulin, a journalist appointed by the Production Daily. Master Lin, I have heard about your selfless dedication and have been sent to conduct an interview with a model worker. Please cooperate with Master Lin. P.S. The second update will be sent, and a new book will set sail. This book is a 3-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it." Chapter 9. Journalist by Mulin, Silent Spring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Red Star Steel Rolling Plant, Workshop 5. Lin Feng held the porcelain cup, lifted the lid, blew the tea foam on it, and then turned his gaze to Bai Mulin, a journalist from the big production daily who was tidying up his notebook. He was still wondering where he had seen this journalist before. But unexpectedly, this was the culprit that led to Ye Wenjie's complete blackening, by Mulin. The interview has ended, and Lin Feng is also very familiar with the interviews of this era. Every time he answers, he shouts a few slogans, making Bai Mulin unable to pick out any flaws. With various quotes of striving for unity, Lin Feng is even more passionate and has a high level of ideological consciousness. After organizing the interview manuscript, Bai Mulin stood up, pushed his glasses on his face, and smiled at Lin Feng, saying, "Master Lin, thank you so much. I believe your exemplary work will soon spread and become a role model for the workers." Lin Feng smiled noncommittally and looked at Bai Mulin. He pressed his right hand on his holographic eye, revealing everything on Bai Mulin's body on Lin Feng's lens, including the pen in Bai Mulin's left pocket and a square English book in his right pocket. Although Lin Feng does not know English, the holographic glasses automatically translate the content of the English book. Silent Spring. This is the information displayed by Lin Feng's holographic glasses, which is also the book information in Bai Mulin's pocket. Amidst Bai Mulin's astonished gaze, Lin Feng directly took out the book from Bai Mulin's pocket with his right hand, and the smile on his face disappeared, becoming extremely serious and serious. When Bai Mulin saw Lin Feng's unsmiling expression, he became a bit panicked. This book is a well-known foreign work that he is currently studying. Although it is not a dangerous book, because it is entirely in English, it is still easy for some unknown workers to treat it as spies. At the thought of being treated as a spy, Bai Mulin broke out in a cold sweat. He looked at Lin Feng with a dry smile and quickly explained, "Master Lin, don't misunderstand. Although this is an English book, it introduces how to protect the environment." Lin Feng gave Bai Mulin a noncommittal glance, then flipped through the pages with great seriousness, and finally placed the books on the nearby workbench. "Reporter Bai, I don't know English, and I don't know if what you said is right or not. I won't wrongly accuse a good person, nor will I let go of a bad person." Lin Feng stood up and looked closely at Bai Mulin, speaking with righteousness. Looking at Bai Mulin's nervous and sweaty appearance, Lin Feng couldn't help but chuckle to himself. He reached out and patted Bai Mulin's shoulder, causing her to tremble with fear. Lin Feng chuckled and his tone became gentle, saying, "Bai journalist, don't be nervous. I will ask my classmates to analyze this book. If it is indeed a book about protecting the environment, then we can clear the suspicion of Bai Ji. Moreover, through our previous contact, I believe Bai journalist is still a good comrade." Lin Feng's words made Bai Mulin breathe a sigh of relief. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and gratefully said, "Master Lin, thank you for trusting me." Lin Feng waved his hand to Bai Mulin, who was grateful to Lin Feng and left here. Lin Feng turned his head to look at the quiet spring on the workbench, and lightly touched his chin with his right hand, showing a strange smile on his face. Silent Spring. This book can be said to have also influenced the future ETO Commander Ye Wenjie's life. Through this book, Ye Wenjie has seen the destruction of the environment by humans around the world, the pollution of the Earth's environment, and the greed and destructive desire of human nature. When using holographic glasses to see the book on Bai Mulin's body, he had already decided to cut it off. Lin Feng plans to use this quiet spring book to brush up with Ye Wenjie's liking. After all, he is the future ETO commander. Just as Lin Feng casually flipped through the quiet spring, Li Weijie, also a 7th level fitter, hurriedly walked in from Workshop 7, sweating profusely, and then took a few sips of water from a nearby cup before looking at Lin Feng. "Great, Master Lin, can you understand English? Quickly, come and help." Li Weijie was surprised when he saw the English book in Lin Feng's hand, and couldn't help but pick up Lin Feng and leave. "What's wrong, Master Li?" Lin Feng was stunned for a moment, his body almost being pulled out of the workshop by Li Weijie. Upon hearing Lin Feng's inquiry, Li Weijie sighed and said with a bitter smile, Master Lin, our 7th workshop has received a batch of precision parts tasks from above, but all of them are in English. We illiterate people can't understand it. It seems like you understand English, Master Lin. Can you help us take a look together? Lin Feng suddenly realized that he had slightly freed himself from Li Weiguo's arm, and then consciously followed Li Weiguo's footsteps with quick steps. After entering Workshop 7, Lin Feng found that all the workers were holding one blueprint after another, with a worried expression. The atmosphere in the entire workshop was dull, only the reputation of various machine tools. After closely following Lin Feng, Li Weiguo walked into the workshop and clapped his hands. After seeing that he had attracted all the workers, Li Weiguo spoke up and said, "Don't hold on to the drawings with your hammers. You can't even see the flowers. Give all the drawings to our junior college student, Master Lin. Master Lin is a top student in the factory, and I think he should be able to understand English." Li Weiguo gave Lin Feng a small compliment and then looked at him earnestly. "Master Li, I can't guarantee that I can really understand these English words. However, I will do my best." Lin Feng nodded in front of the attentive gaze of the workers around him. If the holographic glasses have not been extracted yet, Lin Feng will directly refuse. After all, although he is a college student, he has no knowledge of English. But now, with holographic glasses, Lin Feng is full of confidence. After all, these holographic glasses are decades more advanced than the technology of this era, and automatic English translation is also incredibly easy. After obtaining Lin Feng's consent, dozens of workers placed all the drawings in their hands on the workbench. Lin Feng walked up to the workbench and began to focus on reading the drawings. It's no wonder Li Weiguo and his team couldn't understand the English drawings, which are all in English and contain a lot of professional terminology. Even Lin Feng, upon seeing these drawings at this moment, his eyes turned black. He could only lightly press a button on the holographic glasses, and inside the lenses, all the English on the blueprint was translated. As the holographic glasses were translated, Lin Feng's face gradually became serious. Lin Feng calmly flipped through the drawings, and every time he looked at a drawing, he would touch his holographic glasses. Using the data analysis and holographic imaging functions of the holographic glasses, he transformed all the precision parts recorded on each drawing into holographic images. Shwa 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 shwa. The blueprint data on Lin Feng's glasses began to crazily refresh, and holographic image parts began to quickly combine under the analysis of holographic glasses data, like transformers, with various parts accurately and inaccurately landing in their intended positions. Subsequently, finished holographic images appeared in front of Lin Feng. Antenna array, feeder, high-sensitivity receiver, oscilloscope. Lin Feng remained calm on the surface, but inner turmoil surged. On top of Lin Feng's holographic glasses, only he could see the holographic imaging module, and various finished components were quickly combined to form a huge object. Ultra-high-frequency radio telescope. Lin Feng's pupils slightly contracted, and as he looked at the blueprint in front of him, he had already thought of a possibility. The Red Bank Base. Workshop 7 is building ultra-high-frequency radio telescopes for the yet-to-be-built Red Bank Base. P.S. The third watch is coming, and a new book sets sail. This book is a 3-body fan, with only science fiction, and only science fiction. There will be no chaotic magic, cultivation and other abilities. Please rest assured to collect it. Chapter 10. Lin Feng's Shock and the Ring of Fate. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Red Star Steel Rolling Plant, Workshop 7. Level 7 Fitter Li Weiguo smiled and patted Lin Feng's shoulder, saying gratefully, "Master Lin, thank you so much. If it weren't for you, our bunch of thugs wouldn't be able to handle these parts." Lin Feng also waved his hand to Li Weiguo and left Workshop 7 with a tired face. Obviously, what Workshop 7 is building is the ultra-high-frequency radio telescope for the future Red Bank Base. So, has the construction of the Red Bank Base already begun? Returning to his 5th workshop, Lin Feng held his porcelain cup and fell into contemplation. The official establishment of the Red Bank base in the three-body world occurred in 1966, 1 year later. But it is obvious that from the drawings of the ultra-high-frequency radio telescope that Lin Feng saw in Workshop 7 today, the construction of various facilities at the Hong'an base has already begun from now on. The task received by the Red Star steel rolling plant is to manufacture precision parts for radio telescopes. When Lin Feng saw the radio telescope in Workshop 7, his heart was extremely shocked. What is impressive, of course, is that this radio telescope, based on the data analysis of holographic glasses, can generate power that is at least 50 years ahead of this era, or even more. In addition to being shocked, Lin Feng's heart was also filled with a sense of urgency. Lin Feng, who was familiar with the three-body world, was very clear that the establishment of the Red Bank base would mean the arrival of the three-body civilization. It also means that humanity will experience extreme despair and fear. Eliminating human tyranny, the world belongs to the three-body. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Although he was already prepared, when he learned that the Red Bank base was about to be established and the three-body civilization was about to set sail, Lin Feng still inevitably became confused and afraid in his heart. Unity is strength. This power is iron. When Lin Feng fell into confusion, the radio station outside began playing songs from this era, which also brought Lin Feng back to his senses from his thoughts. It has to be said that the songs of this era are very infectious. Lin Feng couldn't help but hum, and at the same time, he picked up the quiet spring beside him, carried the roast duck he had bought in the morning, and left the workshop. Master Lin, you'll need to worry a lot for the next time. Just as he walked out of the workshop, Li Weiguo from Workshop 7 walked over, his tone also full of gratitude. It's easy to say, everything is serving the people, Lin Feng nodded and said with great consciousness. Lin Feng's words made Li Weiguo respect him deeply. He gave Lin Feng a thumbs up and said in admiration, otherwise, he would have to be a top student. Master Lin's consciousness is much higher than us muddy legs. Lin Feng just smiled and didn't speak. He spent the whole day translating drawings for Li Weiguo and his team in Workshop 7. Moreover, in order to facilitate his access to the construction progress of the radio telescope at any time, Lin Feng only translated 1/3 of the content of a part drawing today. For a long time to come, Lin Feng will go to Workshop 7 to translate the drawings. When he got on his bike and returned home, it was already 7 p.m. and it was already dark. Lin Feng looked up at the sky. Above Lin Feng was an endless Milky Way, with countless bright stars shining brightly. The entire starry sky appeared beautiful and serene. It was not the first time he had seen the starry sky of this era, but it was the first time he had felt the depth and darkness of the starry sky. In a daze, Lin Feng felt as if he was standing in the endless dark forest of the universe. The stars above him had transformed into humanoid figures holding hunting guns, shining with their own radiance. They were walking quietly in this dark forest without making any sound. No one speaks, and no one dares to stop. Everyone is holding their breath. They walked cautiously through the forest like ghosts, gently pulling away the branches blocking the way, trying their best not to make any sound from their footsteps. And Lin Feng lowered his head to look at himself. He didn't know when he had already turned into a bug, a trivial bug. Although these hunters carefully navigate through the forest, they never look down at their feet. Every time they move, they trample on a few ants like Lin Feng without realizing it. Even if some hunters sometimes turn around and see the bodies of ants they have trampled on, they only sweep past them. We are insects, insignificant insects, Lin Feng lowered his head and chuckled to himself. Taking a deep breath, Lin Feng adjusted his mood. He was very grateful that he had traveled back to the 1960s. Although the resources here were not abundant, the spiritual world was very rich. Various inspiring spiritual quotes gave Lin Feng some comfort in his heart. Standing in front of the door, Lin Feng patted the dust off his body and gently opened the door. Sha sha sha. As soon as he opened the door, Lin Feng heard a slight noise, which was very chaotic but carried some kind of rhythm. In the darkness, Lin Feng seemed to see some shadows wriggling on his desk. Is it the ant of fate's nest? Lin Feng touched his chin and muttered to himself, then walked up to the light switch and turned on the light directly. And as the electric lights in the main room lit up, the whole room became bright, and Lin Feng finally saw what the black shadow on the table was. As Tong Lin Feng had guessed, the black shadow on his desk was striking ants. Ants densely packed. These ants, in a way that even Lin Feng couldn't believe, formed circles around the teacup in the center of the table. It looks like concentric circles. The regular circle made Lin Feng feel a bit shocked. Lin Feng walked quickly to the table and looked down. On the table, thousands of ants formed 13 concentric circles, big and small. These concentric circles, with the teacup containing ant life as the center, spread outward in circles. The first circle is the ant 12 warriors that have been recorded by Lin Feng, as well as a huge queen ant. Starting from this circle, each circle is a multiple of 13. The number of the second ant colony is 26, the third ant colony is 39, and so on. Schwa. Lin Feng pressed the data analysis button on top of his holographic glasses with his right hand, and the data quickly refreshed on top of his lenses, then began to form holographic models one by one. What these ants make up is a standard and flawless concentric circle. Lin Feng took a cold breath. You should know that even humans need tools to draw standard and flawless concentric circles, and some people cannot even draw them with the help of tools. However, these ants were arranged into standard concentric circles without any tools, and even the position coordinates of each ant on the plane were symmetrical and overlapping with each other. The concentric circles on Lin Feng's desktop have become so precise that they can make Lin Feng, a human, marvel at them. Lin Feng was eager to know what had happened to this fate ant colony after he left. He took out the dream machine from the room, opened the lid on the teacup, and skillfully attached the automatic patch of the dream machine to the antennae of ant life, while another automatic patch was attached to his left wrist, and then turned on the dream machine. Buzz. The ant's life, which was sending pheromones, only felt its brain buzzing for a moment, and then it returned to a magical world. Ant life, request a conversation with beings beyond the sky. P.S. The fourth update is on the way, new book set sail, whispering and begging for collection, flowers, evaluation tickets, and all support.